1977, George Lucas formed a legacy.
The Force is with me, and I am with the Force.
Inspired by mythology, his saga has become a passion for many.
Feel the Force around you.
His legend has become our story.
It's true. All right.
One of resistance.
We are the spark that'll light the fire that'll burn the First Order down.
Rebellion.
Rebellion is built on hope.
And redemption.
I am a Jedi, like my father before me.
This is Star Wars Reactions.
Remember, the Force will be with you, always.
Well, hello, everybody, and welcome. It is episode 65 of Star Wars Reactions, and we are going to have a fun show. This is going to be great. We got some awesome news that we want to talk about. We got a great topic of discussion. I am just so looking forward to this episode. So let's not hold things back. My name is Aaron Harris, and joining me is oh, wow, I am running out of these duos here. Let's see here. Let's see, what could we do? Okay. No, that won't work. Okay, you know what? We're a cross-platform type of group. So he's the Spock to my Kirk. And I just got my Star Trek reference in for the week, for the month. Joining me is my buddy David Motters. David, what's up, my friend?
Oh man, just here getting ready to record with you and looking forward to it. Hopefully everybody enjoyed that surprise bonus episode we dropped yesterday on Halloween, covering Terrifying Tales. So that was fun to kind of throw that in there. And I'm looking forward to react with you. And like you said, we got some really fun news and a fun character profile to do tonight. So looking forward to it.
Exactly. It's got some great news, a great character profile. Yeah, the surprise episode, the Halloween episode, that was a lot of fun to do. Hope y'all enjoyed it as much as we did making it. It was just something we wanted to throw out there for y'all. As soon as they announced Terrifying Tales, I knew this is how we wanted to do it. So hope y'all enjoyed it. It was as much as we did making it. So let's go ahead and jump into some news here, because we had some pretty big news here today. But first off, I want to go ahead and let you know that, of course, as of the date of the release of this episode, which this episode will release, of course, Wednesday, November 3rd, as of the date of release of this episode, we will be T-minus 13 days away and counting till the release of the third Thrawn Ascendancy novel, Lesser Evil. And this is one I am just, oh gosh, I am dying. It's all marked on my calendar. It's in my phone. It's pre-ordered on Audible. It's pre-ordered on Amazon. I'm so looking forward to this book. You have no clue.
That's awesome, man.
So
yeah, you gonna tell them how long it is?
Oh, that's what I wanted to bring up too, because I pre-ordered it on Audible. Used one of my credits and got the pre-order in. That thing is 23 hours and 14 minutes long.
That's staggering. I don't
floored me.
Yeah, I don't think I've done a Star Wars book that long. You and I were talking before we started recording. I think 16 hours is the longest, and that was the previous Thrawn, Greater Good, right?
Greater Good was that long. I think the only one that, let me get back over here into my list here.
Yeah, I wonder if the third Alphabet Squadron was. Some of those were pretty long.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to look. Victory's price was 16 hours and 19 minutes, and that was the longest of those.
Yeah.
But I was curious. No, that was only 15. I was looking at the Aftermath books, because those were pretty thick, pretty large as well. The only one I have not done yet is the last one. Empire's End. It's still 15 hours as well.
Okay, yeah.
So it's pretty up there. I think the closest one to that I'm aware of is actually the from a certain point of view, The Empire Strikes Back.
Yes.
It was 17 hours and 59 minutes. But this one is 23 hours and 14 minutes long.
That is massive.
I will go ahead and tell you that is going to be a very long day.
Well, tell them why.
Because once I started, I ain't going to put it down.
That's going to be long. Yeah.
It also is the day we are, as you've heard in previous episodes, or if you follow me online, we're moving. So that's the day we're closing on our house. Closing and moving. So we'll have a lot going on that day. But I'll be listening to that before, after, during. I may even listen to it during. Don't tell my wife. But it will be a day long remembered for sure.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, we'll finish this trilogy up.
Yes, but as exciting as that news is, even bigger than that was at about 9:30 this morning. 9:30 this morning. Of course, we're recording this Monday, November 1st of 2021. The Book of Boba Fett trailer got a release. It was released this morning. And my Lord, what a trailer it was. Of course, we shared it on our social media pages. So if you missed it, go there and watch it now. It is outstanding. It just looks so well made. It literally is so cinematic. It puts other live action shows to shame. Just the cinematography in this trailer is incredible. What did you think when you watched it, David?
Yeah, I mean, there's a few scenes where there's like a scene of like a city from high above, and I thought, man, that starts reminding me of Rogue One or like Jeddah, or something on the planet Jeddah there, and just incredible looking. Like you said, a lot of aliens, and it's interesting to hear this kind of what I've been hearing is this kind of twist on Boba Fett's approach, that Jabba ruled with fear. He wants to rule with respect. And that'll be interesting to see how that plays out, particularly with, like some of the, the phrases they put, every galaxy has an underground or underworld. And a lot of times there's not a whole lot of respect in the underworld. So, no, I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait. And, Fennec Shand looks awesome. And so does Boba Fett. Tim Morrison looks like he's ready to rock and roll. So, yeah, no reservations from me.
Oh, it looks phenomenal. It goes in line with what we were hearing. It sounds like he's taking over and running Jabba's cartel, I guess you could call it. And like I love you brought up that quote, how Jabba ruled by fear, but I tend to rule by respect, or I can't remember the exact verbiage. But the other one that goes right along with that is that's showing us what kind of what he's trying to do in this show is Boba says, let me pull it back up real quick. It says, or he says, and I quote, why speak of conflict when cooperation can make us all rich?
Right. And that'll probably be the rub, right? Him trying to do that instead of him acting just like them. Mm-hmm. There's the rub, and that could provide the conflict throughout the 8 episodes that this is going to run.
exactly. And and Fennec, it looks like Fennec is going to be basically his muscle.
Yeah.
His bodyguard, his muscle through this series, which according to IMDb is still 8 episodes long. Starts December 29th and runs through February 16th is the final episode, according to that, to IMDb. So
nice.
it looks great. It looks great. So I am so looking forward to that. And of course, we will be covering it when it comes out. And it's going to be fun. This is just going to be great. I'm loving every minute of this so far. So yeah, that really wraps up our news, because that Book of Boba Fett trailer was big news we had. So let's go ahead and close that out, because we got a great discussion for you today. We are returning to our profile series that we've been doing over the months, throughout the year. We started our profile series. You may remember, or if you're new to the show, you may not have missed the others. But this is basically where we take a character from the Star Wars saga, and this can be, and we're not looking at main characters like Luke or Han or Leia or Rey or anybody like that. We're looking at the secondary characters who did not have a lot of screen time, and really weren't there past, maybe a couple minutes on screen or even one episode of a TV show, but made a lasting impact in the saga. Those are the type of characters we're looking at. This week, we wanted to stick back and take a look at everyone's favorite Zilkin,
Mm-hmm.
Colonel Meebur Gascon.
I love him.
Oh, I know. He's great. It sounds like it's definitely a Disney character. It sounds like it could be a Disney song. No one leads like Gascon, rides in droids like Gascon.
That was weird.
Likes to blow up separatist ships like Gascon.
Exactly. And hey, I'll say this. Like you said, when you came up with this idea of character profiles, but specifically doing it with secondary characters, I just thought that was great. And I've enjoyed this, and I've enjoyed the ones we've done before. And I was looking forward to covering Meebur Gascon. And I rewatched those 4 episodes today. I was able to sneak some time in and get all 4 of those back in my head again. They were pretty much in there because we've done that profile on Gregor. And so at least one of the episodes was in my mind. But once I watched them, they were all back in there. And so I'm really enjoying these profiles of secondary characters who do play these critical roles. And we'll talk more about that with Meeber as we go on.
Exactly. And, Meeber is a very interesting character, and it's a character that I wish we would have gotten more of, to be perfectly honest. I mean, he was literally in 4 episodes during the 5th season of the Clone Wars. Secret Weapons, A Sunny Day in the Void, Missing in Action, and Point of No Return. And outside of that, outside of what we get from his story in there, we don't know much more about him. There's really nothing that tells us his history after that. But we got interesting looks at this character, and we want to go into that and discuss what we think about him, his impact on the saga, and stuff like that. So let's get this going here with the simple biography of Meebur Gascon. Meebur Gascon, of course, was a male Zilkin from the Great Zilk, who served as a colonel in the Grand Army of the Republic during the Clone Wars. Gascon answered the call of duty at the very start of the war, offering his analytical skills as part of the strategic command since the Battle of Geonosis. The Jedi Council placed Gascon, very close to that Disney character nobody likes. but placed him in command of a special mission where he was in command of a group of droids, which included R2-D2. This group of droids was nicknamed D Squad, and the mission was to obtain a vital separatist encryption module that they were using to basically, destroy the Republic. He was a no-nonsense, military-minded individual. He had a huge personality and a gruff voice and an itty-bitty body. It makes me think of the genie from Aladdin. Great cosmic powers, itty-bitty face. That's Gascon for you. And of course, when D Squad found out what he did during the Battle of Geonosis and what he was an analyst, they basically called him. He was basically boiled it down to simply what he was, a map reader, which of course he did not sit well with that. Of course, they succeeded in their mission in that 4-episode droid arc, rescuing Gregor from essentially slavery and changing the course of the war by the end of the series. So perfect. Let's go ahead and jump into this. David, what are your overall thoughts about Meebur Gascon?
Yeah, I think, there's a lot of negative, reaction to him and to these episodes. But I unlike a lot of that negative reaction, I really enjoyed the character in all 4 episodes. And like I said, I think he was disliked because of the dislike of, I would say, probably A Sunny Day in the Void the most. That episode, watching it again today, there was a lot more in it than I thought there was, from remembering it from, season 5 and how many years ago that was. But I do believe that was the general gist of it. He just associated with it. Plus, I do think, and I don't have this in the show notes, that he does remind some people of Jar Jar, because I think there's some description, maybe at Wikipedia, that the 2 eye stalks kind of similar to Jar Jar and stuff like that. But I did not have a negative reaction to him. I do think too, these episodes are generally not discussed with him in it, except maybe missing an action that's talked about due to Gregor. And of course, you and I just covered the end of the Bad Batch, where Gregor is reintroduced, which, kind of comes full circle from what we're covering here to a certain degree. But I do think that, here's the thing, he does develop over the course of this arc into a key part of D Squad, and his attitudes towards them change, and I'll talk about that a little bit more. But I'll also say this in terms of just some of my initial thoughts. It never hurts for me when Steven Stanton does the voice, and I just listening to him again, I really listened in, and man, he does such a good job with that voice, and just really gives him the big personality that Aaron mentioned a minute ago in his biography. So that definitely helped. But me, I liked the character versus disliking him, and I'll share some more about that as we go into some other things. But yeah, overall, I really like him. How about you?
I really like this guy, and just to clarify, what you mentioned earlier is kind of related to Jar Jar. From what we know, Gascon's original design originated in the concept artwork of Jar Jar. That's right. From episode 1, and it was developed off of that. So Jar Jar Binks gave birth to to Meeber Gascon from a certain point of view.
Nice.
So
nice play on words. Very, very good.
Yes. So, but no, I like Meeber Gascon. I'll be the first to admit that when they first released the Droid arc, when it first released and it aired on Cartoon Network, I was not a fan. It bored the snot out of me, to be honest. But I will say I did walk away liking Meebur Gascon, and here's why. And I didn't put this in the show notes, but I should have. But I when I growing up, for those of you that don't know my background and my history, growing up, my parents, and they still currently are, they're missionaries. I grew up overseas. I grew up in a small country in South America called Uruguay. And there was another missionary that was there with us. And they, Uncle Mike was, I love the man to death. We weren't related, but we always just called him Uncle Mike. And, I loved Uncle Mike. But he was vertically challenged, to put it mildly. He was not a tall man, but he did everything in his power to compensate for that. From the depth of his voice to the way he carried himself. And Meebur Gascon reminded me of Uncle Mike, and I loved it. So I fell in love with Meebur Gascon right from the beginning. From the first time I watched it, he basically embodies Yoda's saying, "Judge me by my size, do you?" He's a bit arrogant. He's extremely confident in his abilities. But he's, 6 inches tall. He's about the size of some of these action figures sitting on my desk. It's kind of funny. But he's got quite for an arc that has a lot packed in it. When you actually sit down and look at it to analyze it, he probably has the largest amount of character growth by a single individual that's only appeared in one arc. And I would say in pretty much any story out there. He goes from thinking absolutely nothing of these droids and being overly confident in his abilities to basically losing his mind in the void, and then coming back to reality with a respect for the droids and saving the day, leading the droids in saving the day. So yeah, he is quite the character, and I really like him, and he has got quite the place in the Star Wars saga. So very, very fun character, very cool. And of course, as you mentioned, voiced by the fabulous Stephen Stanton, who of course voiced Moralo Eval, and of course old Ben Kenobi from one of my favorite episodes of Rebels, Twin Sons. Tremendous episode, extremely talented voice actor. And so voiced Tarkin in the Clone Wars and in Rebels and in Bad Batch. Masameda in the Clone Wars. And my mind is blanking on the name, and I could see him clear as day from Rogue One. Admiral Raddus. Yeah. The voice of Admiral Raddus, the Mon Calamari admiral who flew to the rescue at Scarif. So yeah, he has got a tremendous repertoire in Star Wars, and he is absolutely the nicest guy you'll ever talk to. So the fact that he added to the dimension of Meebur Gascon was just absolutely perfect in my book. So
yes, well,
all right. Oh, absolutely. So, Meeber Gascon, like I said, we don't know a lot about him. We don't have, outside of these 4 episodes, that's all we get from him. What is your favorite moment? I mean, like I said, we don't have a lot of moments because we only got these 4 episodes where he's there. What's your favorite Meeber Gascon moment?
Yeah, I had several as I watched all 4 episodes. I kind of went down to 2. either his speech, because they do ask him to do it after BZ. He was traveling around in BZ in the top of that astromech after he sucked out with all the
Buzz
what are
droids.
those? Buzz droids. Thank you. The buzz droids sucked out of the airlock. He sacrifices himself with the whole team, and he's given a really he gives a really positive and uplifting and moving speech for the team, for D Squad. Or watching the end when Anakin's standing there and R2's getting fixed, and he says, R2, you're the bravest droid I've ever met. You all are. And I just thought that was really, really neat. It was that character arc change that you described. It started with calling him Max and stupid, and or Cyclops, calling whack, WAC that, and so
Yep.
it's just a real change. And so those are neat. So another honorable mention for me is when they're in Gregor's apartment and he jumps over and he's looking right into Gregor's eye. You are a clone. That just cracked me up. I love it. Love stuff like that. So those are a few. Him going crazy in the void was pretty funny as well.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Those are great moments. Mine is actually a little different than that. My favorite moment, because he did have a lot of great moments in the arcs, or in this arc, but my favorite moment actually develops straight into his character growth, where he's in the void. He has pretty much lost his mind because he's in the middle of nowhere. There's nothing there. They walk, there's no footprints. I mean, there's literally no life, no nothing. And he snaps. He literally is like losing it at that point. And he's at the lowest of all possible lows. But then they make it to the city, and then they find Gregor and realize Gregor is the clone, like you said. He looks him in the eye, gets real close, looks him in the eye. You are a clone.
Yeah.
But he literally pulls himself back together in a split second, becomes that Republic commander that he was at the beginning of the episode, and takes command and gets into Gregor's head and reminds Gregor who he is and what he does and why, and shows Gregor why he is important, and helps Gregor walk back out of his amnesia essentially back into the war. And I love that because it is such a key moment in not only, in my opinion, in Gascon's story, but in Gregor's story too, because it changes the course of Gregor's life. It essentially changes the mission for Meeber Gascon and D Squad, and adds to them and their team. And it just shows how much character he truly has to be able that and how strong of a character he is mentally. Even though he did have that break out in the void, he was able to snap himself back and to his senses, become the military commander that he always was, and take action and lay down the law and basically be the commander that Gregor needed to remind him who he was.
I like how you said. I want to jump in and say yes. It's always interesting to see how people react after things are tough. Not when things are going well, right? But when you get hit in the jaw, and how do you respond? So I really like how you mentioned that. That is a key point, and it's good to see him not cave in, not give in, not give up, but sticks with it. And you nailed it. And then you just see him take off, and in terms of character growth and development, and in terms of helping these missions get accomplished.
Oh, absolutely. He's he got knocked down, but he got up again. He couldn't stay down. He had a good, believe it or not, as annoyed as he was by Whack, which was Whack was the pit droid.
Yes.
The pit droid. I couldn't remember what the type of droid is. I could see it, but I couldn't remember the name. So yeah, he was the pit droid. And as annoyed as he was by Whack, Whack was probably his biggest supporter for the in the mission. So if it wasn't for Whack, Gascon would have broken, possibly not have even made it to the city.
Well, they're foils. I was thinking about this is something my daughter was working on a month or two ago about what are foils in stories, and they both play off each other and make each other grow. Yeah, so yes, I agree with you. Whack was a key part of that.
Absolutely. And of course, when they do escape, they board the Republic ship that had been captured by the separatists that they were using in a plot. They were going to go to this space station and blow it up, where use it as basically a giant bomb. And the space station was hosting the Republic, basically a Republic strategic conference with all the top minds of the Republic were going to be there. Tarkin was there, and of course Mace Windu and Anakin and Obi-Wan were there, all the top admirals. I'm sure somewhere on the station. Oh my gosh, I just blanked on his name. He was the commander of always the commander that's with Anakin and Obi-Wan.
Oh, Cody? Commander Cody?
No, not the clone. He was one of the admirals.
Oh, Admiral Yularen?
Yes, I'm sure Yularen was there as well. We don't see him, but you would assume he was there, because eventually he ends up heading in the Empire. He ends up heading the Security Bureau, ISB. So definitely intelligent mind. So all these top intelligence officials were there, and they were about to get wiped out. And then Gascon and D-Squad step in and run interference and end up stopping the separatist mission. And that really is what brings us to the next question, is why is the character important? And to be perfectly honest, if Gascon and D-Squad hadn't been sent on this mission to recover this encryption device, they would not have bumped into Gregor. They would not have boarded that ship, that Republic destroyer that was captured, and they would not have been able to stop it from destroying the conference. All the top leaders would have been wiped out, and that most likely essentially would have ended the war, because there would have been nothing standing between the separatists and success. Doesn't matter how many clones you got, if you have no leaders for them, what are they going to do?
Yeah, you just got me thinking about something that, I was thinking about Pearl Harbor, and that sneak attack. And like when Anakin's looking up that viewport and he's talking to Obi-Wan, he's like, I don't have a good feeling. That thing's coming in kind of fast, isn't it? And again, just watching this, you're like, man, this is huge. And when, R2 and, like I said, Meebur Gascon and the crew there get that thing to detonate just a little bit earlier, you hear that tactical droid say, no, that's too early. And then R2's like, no, this isn't early enough. Yeah. And, but it's, I had not picked this up listening to all four, particularly this last one, Point of No Return. You hear Meeber Gascon say, and I put it in my notes here, why is this character important? He was saying that the Jedi Council would be there. Now, just like Aaron was mentioning a few minutes ago, you see a lot of really high ups on this space station Valor, it's called, and of course you see Mace and Anakin and Obi-Wan, but I don't know if they. Well, I wonder if the Jedi Council would do that, all be in the same place. I mean, they could all be in the spire there, on Coruscant. But during a war, I'd be curious to see if that was true, if the whole Jedi Council was there. But during a war, I'm sure they were spread out. We always saw that, right? Whenever you go to the main spire there, you'd see Anakin walk in or Obi-Wan, and there'd always be like, Kiadi-Mundi is a blue glow, he's on a hollow feed, or Mace Windu would be in a hollow feed, or even Yoda. So I don't know, but again, there was a lot of key Jedi there. Obviously, the most key being Anakin. Tarkin was there. I think I see Wolf there. Did I see Commander Wolf? I thought I saw him there. I got to look again. There's so much more stuff I was picking up on. But yeah, that I mean, like Aaron said, if Gascon and this whole crew aren't present, it would have changed the whole course of the galaxy as we know it in Star Wars. And so looking back on these 4 episodes, they really show how, I mean, they really make them critical. So he is absolutely great story arc, very important part of the Star Wars story. Clone Wars made it that way, and he only appeared in 4 episodes.
Yeah, absolutely. Well said. Well said. I mean, it always and you bring that up, and it's got me wondering if the Jedi Council has a like a Kiefer Sutherland designated survivor stashed off somewhere.
Right.
For their meetings. Who's the least important person on this council? You go hide.
Yeah.
Where they do draw straws, and whoever has the shortest lightsaber has to leave. Who knows? But yeah, that'd be something fun to look into. But yeah, that's well said. I like that. Yeah, I like that. So any final thoughts about Meebur Gascon?
One little comment I picked up on, how we don't like to see common day things mentioned in Star Wars. And again, I never picked up on this before, but at one point, Meebur Gascon uses the word Titanic. Now, I don't know if he's meaning this huge, but we know the Titanic is a ship. And he says now we have a Titanic-sized problem or something like this. And I just wanted to just kind of a little bit of real world in Star Wars there, hearing the word Titanic. It's real quick, but just a fun little factoid that Star Wars geeks love. So there you go.
Very good, very good. So of course, let us know what you think about Meebur Gascon. Let us know what you think about the character, what you think about his importance. You can, of course, hit us up on any of our social media accounts on Facebook or Instagram at SW Reactions. You can hit us up on Twitter at SW Reactions Pod, or email us show@StarWarsReactions.com. Let us know what you think about Meebur Gascon, and it'll be great. David, I understand you have a new psychology corner that might tie in to Gascon.
Oh man, this fits perfectly. I'm so glad I didn't cover this actually in some previous psychology corners. We've been running through a lot of the Fortean defense mechanisms here, and I've really enjoyed it, just kind of hitting one after another. And this just fit perfectly, just like Aaron said. So in this installment of my Psychology Corner, what we're going to cover is the Fortean defense mechanism called compensation. In fact, I don't know if the listeners picked up on Aaron mentioning the word compensation when he was talking earlier about his uncle that was really short and how he compensated with certain behaviors and deep voice and all that. So So let's go through it. This is the perfect time to cover compensation as a defense mechanism because it ties in perfectly here with Meebur Gascon. So when do we see compensation? We can see this when someone counterbalances their own perceived flaws or weaknesses by emphasizing their strengths. So an example could be of a school student, a student in school, a school student who struggles with math, but emphasizes, say, to his or her parents, hey, look how good I'm doing in English class. Look at this. And they get good grades in there, but they emphasize that to counterbalance the other weakness in math. For Meebur Gascon, who knows he lacks real combat experience, he emphasized his training, right? That was one of the things he did. He also, really emphasized his ability to improvise and create a new plan on the fly. And those were his strengths. A good example of him improvising on the fly would be knowing that a transport would be on Abafar because of the presence of separatist droids. And bam, they found that separatist ship, or I guess a transport that was going up to the big Republic cruiser there. I would also add, and this ties into what Aaron said, he does a nice job of helping Gregor, ultimately see himself and understand who he is. And when he does that for Gregor ends up ultimately helping D Squad complete their mission. And then, again, going back to the question that Aaron and I always ask in these profiles is, why is this character important in Star Wars? When you look at Gascon and the D Squad, they ultimately do 2 missions. The big one, they were doing this whole massive thing to steal that encryption module so they could decrypt some of these separatist transmissions. But they end up saving, these critical Jedi and Republic officers so that they could continue with the Clone Wars. So 2 huge things that he ends up doing. But this, again, just worked out perfectly to cover compensation with Meebur Gascon. So there we go. And we have a few more to follow, defense mechanisms, but we'll have fun with those in following episodes. So there we go, my friend. A new psychology corner that fit perfectly with our character profile.
I love it. I love it when a plan comes together.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. Great job, David. Love the psychology corner. And if anybody out there wanted to ask you about the psychology corner or about Meeber Gascon or about Star Wars in general, how would they go about doing that?
Oh, definitely, brother. 3 places. One's Twitter. That's at David_Modders, Modders. There's an S on the end. So, throw stuff my way and we could have some fun talking Star Wars and all kinds of geeky stuff. The other one is Instagram. Just look for David Modders, and I'm there. And then the last one is at the website that Aaron so awesomely set up and keeps going. It's David at StarWarsReactions.com.
.com. Very good. Very good. And of course, if you want to talk to me about Star Wars or my bad dad jokes or anything in general, feel free to hit me up on Twitter at TAHarris121079. Or, of course, you can always email me, Aaron at StarWarsReactions.com. So you know what that means, David?
Oh, no.
Oh, I got one for you this week, my friend.
Jeez.
I found the perfect one. Fortunately, there's not any Gascon jokes out there that I could find. But since Meeber Gascon was voiced by the fabulous Stephen Stanton, who also voiced Tarkin,
Yes.
I got a Tarkin joke for you.
Nice.
You ready for this, David?
Yes, I am. I actually am.
Here we go. Star Wars dad joke of the week. Here we go. What was Wolof Tarkin's favorite brand of toilet paper?
I don't know, Aaron. What was Wilhoff Tarkin's favorite brand of toilet paper?
Charming to the last.
Oh, my That's bad.
Charmin. The laugh.
Oh, I can just hear Peter Cushing saying that. Oh,
Oh, that was a bad one.
wow. I know you're trying to make him worse and worse and worse, and that is really setting the bar. That,
Charmin.
yes.
Perfect. David, my friend, I have had a blast tonight.
Oh, me too, man. I'm so glad we were able to get through and cover this, especially following up our Halloween episode, and looking forward to other stuff that we're going to record this month, and hopefully our listeners do too. And always great to record with you.
Absolutely, my friend. Awesome as always. Thank you everybody for listening. Y'all are awesome. Take care of each other. Have fun. Always let the people you love know that they're loved, and you care for them, and take care of yourselves. Remember, this is your place for elegant discussion for a more civilized age.
If you'd like to share your thoughts, you can email us at show@starwarsreactions.com for our show notes and the latest news from the Star Wars universe. Visit our website at www.starwarsreactions.com. You can also follow us on Twitter at SWReactionsPod or on Facebook at Star Wars Reactions. If you enjoy our show, please leave a review on iTunes. This podcast is not endorsed by the Walt Disney Company or by Lucasfilm Limited. It's intended for entertainment and informational purposes only. The official Star Wars website can be found at www.starwars.com. Star Wars. All names, sounds, and any other Star Wars related items are registered trademarks and or copyrights of Disney and their respective trademark and copyright holders. All original content of this podcast is the intellectual property of Star Wars Reactions unless otherwise indicated. Star Wars Reactions. Elegant discussion for a more civilized age.